and welcome. Today, I am so excited to introduce to you one of the students, one of the very first students in the Idea to Income mentorship. And I'm going to let you her tell you a little bit about herself and why she joined Idea to Income and what her photography level was when she joined. So go ahead, Danielle, take it away.
All right, my name's Danielle. I have two girls, so we snap pictures all the time. Twins, yep, they're 9. They'll be 10 in February.
That's important because she's busy.
Yeah, they'll be 10 in February. So we've been snapping pictures since, I've been snapping them of them before they could even sit up straight. But they love to model, so we do it often. So that is kind of what had led me to take the class, because one, I've always loved pictures. If you come to my house, there's literally a picture on every single wall. I like taking pictures. Pictures for me is capturing a moment in time. Sometimes it's all people have left. So it's always been a passion of mine. I just wanted to kind of take it to the next level to learn how to take them in a sense of where, I don't know, they look polished. Everyone looks like, a model, so to say, instead of getting the blurry or off lighting, or you can't really tell what's going on, or you can't print it because it's not good quality. And then eventually build a business from it, whether it's a business on the side or in the future, a full-time income.
And so I have known Danielle since she was in her mama's belly. But I think I formally met her at her senior portrait session, which was several years ago. And then was it the twins newborn that I took, or it wasn't quite newborn because they were preemies.
No, they were 6 months when you took their picture.
Okay, because they were in the hospital for a little while.
Yeah.
So, and then Danielle actually took care of my kids for a little while and was my babysitter. And Danielle has an amazing eye for photography. And she's been talking to me since way before I started the mentorship program, and asking questions and different things. And when I released the mentorship, one of her concerns was she didn't think she was a good enough photographer to charge money. And probably every single person that has ever became a photographer has that same fear. And what I told her was, that'll come with practice. And last week I talked to a business owner, and no matter where you are in your journey, it's not that you need confidence in what you're going to do. You just need the courage to. She's done phones. She's upgraded, and she has a whole camera, starter camera now. She has a flash. Working on getting a computer, or did you get one?
I have my work computer, but I'm working on getting one dedicated so I can use Lightroom desktop versus phone.
Yeah, and that's going to be a huge thing. But Danielle's never had a professional photography class, and one of the things that she took recently, she sent me a message and said, this just doesn't look polished, professional, or whatever. We went over a couple things, and I'm going to pull those up now and show you what she created. And I think this is good for everyone, because in this picture, and Danielle, you can see both of them now, right?
Yeah,
it's see both of the pictures.
It's taken a minute to pull up, but yeah, I can see it now.
On your end?
Yeah.
Okay. So these pictures were taken about 3 weeks apart. And she sent me this first picture, which is a gorgeous girl, posed very, very well. Nothing wrong with the posing or the composition, but the lighting was bad. And in Danielle's mind, she thought that we could fix that in Photoshop, and we did tweak it, and we played around a little bit with it. But I talked to her about how to find the light. So in the first patient, and she took the picture. 3 weeks later, after she went through my Go manual, which is, I think it's a 20-page workbook. It's not that big. And she went through Go manual, and I gave her some tips on how to find the light. She stopped snapping pictures and she started creating portraits. So in just a short amount of time, she up leveled her photography game times a bazillion, as far as I'm concerned. So Danielle, can you talk to me about when you went through, was reading Go manual? Because you learn a lot like I do. You just want to know what you need to know. Like, you don't want to absorb anything. And I tried to write that so that people that just needed the quick information could get it. So what can you tell me about what you were thinking when you created the first image versus the second image, which is stunning?
So I'll tell you, with the first image, I didn't realize when you capture a picture that there are different formats you can shoot in, and how much lighting really played a part. And also that 2 hours after sunset, sunrise, and 2 hours before sunset, to where you kind of get good lighting, or unless you're in the shade or it's kind of cloudy. I always used to think that you needed a lot of light for good pictures, but so I read the manual and started to learn about shooting in RAW, and then the shutter speed and the aperture and the white balance. So I started just I read like what that meant, but then just started taking pictures randomly at my daughter's cheer game, just to kind of look actually what it did. So I would take a picture one way and then look at it and then adjust something else and see what it did. Did it make it more crisp? Did the lighting get a little darker? Did it get lighter? And then I took these family photos. I think this was probably around like 9 o'clock in the morning. And I started messing with the white balance and the shutter speed for this here, and shooting in manual as well, versus just letting the camera do all the work for you. And that's what I did on the left. So I did this, and then not Photoshop, the Lightroom, where I went to edit, it was a lot easier on lighting because I didn't have to mess with the lighting too much. It was just more so bringing colors forward or putting colors backwards, more focusing the picture and blurring the background a little bit. So the manual really helped me understand how to play around with settings to get that polished look versus putting someone in front of a camera and just snapping.
How did you because you kind of alluded to it, the homework in the back that walked you through, take this picture at this stop and that stop. What did you think about that?
So I did like that. I didn't do it like with a standstill or indoors. I just kind of immediately went outside, but that kind of put 2 and 2 together, kind of made if the light bulbs go off, for lack of better terms. Like, you read it, you understand it, but when you start playing with it and taking a picture and then like, that's not light enough, you'd adjust it. Then you really, okay, do I go down? Do I go up? So it kind of puts it all into perspective once you start doing it on your own.
Now, I have 2 big questions for you, and then we'll hop off because you've got twins and a boyfriend and a little one that's going to be home for dinner soon. First, how long did it take you to go through the manual and piece it together?
Honestly, the manual, it probably took me 15 to 20 minutes to read it. What took me a little longer is figuring out how to do it on my camera. So that was, I had to look at the settings and then YouTube to figure out how to make the aperture go down or how to make it go up. That took a little longer, but I did that while I was outdoors, kind of playing around with everything, trying to figure out how to do it. So the manual was great, especially if you're like me and you don't have a whole lot of time. It
Mhm.
was super quick, super easy. You can read it and then try it right then and there because it was really easy to digest. It wasn't something long and drawn out where you're left just as puzzled as you were when you first started it.
Okay, and then here's the big question. What happened to your confidence level from the picture of the girl versus the family?
It probably at least doubled. The picture that of the family that's on my right, it actually looks like a polished photo, something you can hang in your home and be like, wow, someone took that instead of someone taking it with your phone camera or someone just standing in front of you snapping it. It actually looks like they went and paid for these pictures. So it felt really good to kind of see that. I'm like, wow, I took that.
And this picture, I'm gonna do it on a little in a little Canva thing and put it on a wall just so you can see what it looked like in someone's home for you, and
Mhm.
I'll send that over. But if you had taken that picture of my family, and I might have said this to you already, I mean, I would pay over $1,000 for that wall portrait. It is spot on. The kids are posed well, nothing funny is happening, and you just did. I mean, you went from a mom with a camera to professional level very, very quick. And I am just so excited. And I wanted you to kind of share that because you had the people have the same fears you do about starting out in photography. But I also wanted you to know how proud I am of you because this is amazing.
I
Do you
appreciate
have
it.
anything else you want to say to anybody, or as far as they're thinking about getting started in photography or whatever?
The biggest thing is just understanding your camera. I think that's what I didn't do for so long until I started asking the right questions. And shooting in manual is actually way easier to get a good shot than shooting in automatic, praying that you got something really good. Because when you take, like when I took this and looked at it, I was like, wow, okay, that looks great. I can go on to the next pose versus standing there and just clicking, hoping that something will look good along the way.
Right. So yeah, you did a great job and I really appreciate your time today. And I am so excited to start working with you to get your logo up
Yeah.
so, and running and get your session guide created and all that good stuff
Yep.
because you are going to be amazing. So thank you for your time today.
Thanks. I appreciate you having me. Thanks again.